Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Monday midday meditation. I am so glad that you are here from wherever you are joining me, whether you are live with me here today or catching the recording. I am grateful, super grateful that you are here. And so I'm just going to adjust my settings here. There we go. That's better. As we get started, as always, we're going to find ourselves in our comfortable seat. So I want you to really experience the seat that you are seated in or on. And that can be any number of things. It might be your office chair. It might be your couch. It could be your bed. It could be the kitchen chair. It could be on your patio, or maybe on a beautiful deck chair somewhere watching the water. It is a gorgeous summer day here, but wherever you are catching us from, and whenever, if it's winter when you're watching this or winter where you're watching this, that's okay too. We're going to get super comfortable in that sensation of comfort and sensation of being supported. I want you to really settle in to that which is supporting you. And since we are human beings on this earth, very rarely are we not connected to the earth in some form, and some part of our body is touching that support of the earth. And I want you to really, as you close your eyes and take a few breaths, bring your awareness to those points of contact, or even just that single point of contact, whatever that might be for you today. You can bring your awareness to it. Take a few breaths and just notice. We've got a visitor here today for our Monday midday meditation. If you are noticing the cat that is wandering in and off of set, um, that's okay. I would hazard a guess that there are either people or pets or birds or other things in your coming to your awareness in and off of your set, wherever that might be as well. And this is a beautiful example and a beautiful reminder that, we do not need to wait for conditions to be perfectly ideal for us to do this resetting, this reconnecting, this restoring. We don't need conditions to be perfect so that we can break the momentum of what it is that we may have been doing all day, right? We can break the momentum anytime by coming into a comfortable seat, closing the eyes, tuning into the support of that which is supporting us. Anytime. All right. So I hope you're getting settled. And as you close the eyes and feel that support and notice that release of the extra effort that you may have been still holding, and you breathe, I offer you a contemplation today. And this contemplation, I was reminded of it in some of my morning reading. This is by Price Pritchett. And from his book, U Squared. And so just listen. Just listen. A true story. I'm sitting in a quiet room at the Millcroft Inn, a peaceful little place hidden back among the pine trees about an hour out of Toronto. It's just past noon, late July, and I'm listening to the desperate sounds of a life or death struggle going on a few feet away. There's a small fly burning out the last of its short life's energies in a futile attempt to fly through the glass of a window pane. The whining wings tell the poignant story of the fly's strategy. Try harder. But it's not working. The frenzied efforts offer no hope for survival. Ironically, the struggle is part of the trap. It is impossible for the fly to try hard enough to succeed at breaking through the glass. Nevertheless, this little insect has staked its life on reaching its goal through raw effort and determination. This fly is doomed. It will die there on the windowsill. Across the room, 10 steps away, the door is open. 10 seconds of flying time, and the small creature could reach the outside world it seeks. With only a fraction of the effort now being wasted, it could be free of this self-imposed trap. The breakthrough possibility is there. It would be so easy. Why doesn't the fly try another approach? Something dramatically different. How did it get so locked in on the idea that this particular route and determined effort offer the most promise for success? What logic is there in continuing until death to seek a breakthrough with more of the same? No doubt this approach makes sense to the fly. Regrettably, it's an idea that will kill. Trying harder isn't necessarily the solution to achieving more. It may not offer any real promise for getting what you want out of life. Sometimes, in fact, it's part of the problem. If you stake your hopes for a breakthrough on trying harder than ever, you may kill your chances for success. Price Pritchett. So the reason I shared this story with you today, and you can likely relate. We've all seen those examples, right, of the effort of and the struggle, whether it be, well, lots of times an insect, but maybe you even recognize it in people that you know, people that you see. The harder they try, the further they get. I love to think of this example. It really hits home for me in terms of what I see in how people are working to overcome the stress, anxiety, overwhelm, burnout in their life. It's often that constant struggle, trying to do more, trying to get on top of it, right? If you can just kind of get through this project, if you can get through this work, if you can just make it through to the end of this thing, everything will be better. Sometimes it is the struggle that we take on in wishing things were different. The boss was different, the coworker was different, the partner was different, the kids were different, the timing was different, right? That struggle entails wishing that one of the situations or the circumstances were different, right? The fly can see through the window, it can see the other side of it, it can see where it wants to go, but it's hitting that glass. And all of its effort tries to go, or is going into trying to change the fact of the glass. And so often, when we are stressed, when we are overwhelmed, when we are burnt out, we go back to those things that we have been used to doing, or going back to what um, the things that used to work before, the things that we did before the situation happened or before we were so stressed. Think back to a time when we weren't stressed and try to replicate that situation or to do those things once again. All of these ways in which we try to change the situation of the stress. We do more, we try harder, we wish for different things. And in a culture, a society of busy, you will find no shortage of techniques, of programs, of applications, apps, of trackers, of influencers, of gurus, of mentors, role models, all of these things that talk about this path through, the path through. And for so many of them, the path offered through, it requires that you take in and take on more and more and more, right? If I could just get to the gym, if I could just make it out for that walk, if I could just, right, make time for that, if I could just get up earlier, all of these things require you to do more. And in that struggle, in that strife, in that battle, sometimes, right? Think about it. You're hitting the glass again and again and again and again and again. And so we become frantic. We try even harder, right? You could try hitting the glass even more. You bring friends to try hitting the glass even harder. You get a bigger tool, right? You involve other people. You get on the bandwagon, other people to get on the bandwagon with you about how wrong something is or how something should be different. And all of that more leads to more and more stress. It leads to panic. It certainly doesn't lead to success. And like the fly, you end up burnt out, frazzled. And this is when, then the analogy with Price Pritchett or the story that he tells, right? The fly ends up dying on the windowsill. Now, that may be extreme, but we do know the long-term impacts of stress, and the repetition of the repeated pattern of stress does create long-term health effects. And all it had to do was look around and see the open door not 10 feet away. So if you are stressed, overwhelmed, burnt out, overworked, all of the things, perhaps by now you can see through the power of the story that the answer is not more. The answer is ease, the path of ease. What is the path to that open door? Well, the good news is you're on that path right now. In fact, all that you've been asked to do in this Monday midday meditation is to be supported by the earth, to breathe, to close the eyes, a little bit of listening. But this is enough to break that cycle. Every time you come here, every time you practice, right? You stop that cycle of banging into that window, trying to break the glass each and every time. And when we break that cycle, when we reemerge, you open your eyes again, you may see something differently. Your perspective has shifted. What you observe has changed. And this, my friends, is the clarity that is required to see the open door not 10 feet away. So if you are stressed, overworked, burnt out, you feel panic, overwhelm, my invitation to you today is to come back to this practice again and again, or to think about before you make that next step, before you do that other thing, before you do more, where could you instead introduce a bit of ease, a bit of calm, reconnect with that which is supporting you? It's simple. It sounds perhaps too easy to be true, but it is incredibly effective. And it is the next step to thriving. So I invite you as we conclude today's midday meditation to allow yourself to just be here, to linger here for another few minutes. The impulse may be to jump off and go do that next thing. But before you respond to that impulse, pause here. Pause here. Are you being the fly? Or are you finding the freedom not 10 feet away? Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to this each and every week. I appreciate you. Namaste.